Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming in to chat with me, I guess, and talk about what's going on today. Today was a busy day with the miners. A lot of news, a lot of updates as well. So we're going to get through all that. I have a bunch here, so I'm going to look at my screen that I have here as far as what we have going on. Cipher update for November, Cleanspark update for November as well. CORZ Scientific, as we're talking about their convertible notes. Hive announces purchases of miners to get to like 15 exahash, which is great news there. Iren announces convertible notes as well. Mara acquires a wind farm, and then we have Riot announcing their November numbers as well. So we have a lot to get through here today. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm a little beat as it is today. I was cleaning up the basement earlier today after work and then doing the numbers for all these guys here. We also have Terrell reported today. I didn't get the chance to do that, so we'll get that one tomorrow as well. And but yeah, we got a lot. So let's try and tackle this all through. As always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, return only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that, as always. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin. And today wasn't, I mean, we were flat basically on the day. We were down quite a bit. Then we bounced back up. Bitcoin did end up being just up slightly, 0.06% on the day. Miners didn't do too well. We had BitTBT that actually did pretty good. It was up 6.86%. CORZ was up 2.24%. Iren was up 2.4%. And Riot was up just a little bit here, 0.33. Everybody else was down. For the small miners, we had DMG that was up. Everybody else was down here. Argo was down quite a bit here. It was down 14%. I think that might be contributable to the news that came out. I think it was yesterday that came out that they got like £4 million or $4 million, basically to help them stay afloat in business. So we'll see how that goes for them. And then we had the ETFs down except for BKCH on it. MicroStrategy was also down today. So today wasn't a great day. We're trading sideways basically on Bitcoin here over the last couple of days. Where will we end up at? Eventually we will be higher, but it's going to maybe take a little time here. We've seen this before as well. If you look back here where we go sideways for a while or down and then back up, sideways, then up, sideways for a couple of days, up, right? We go down. So we should be used to it by now, but it's never great when we see Bitcoin being down, miners being down as well. We like seeing those nice green days like here and here and here. But yeah, Bitcoin so far on the month is only up slightly, 0.62%, kind of like what it was yesterday as well. And let's get into the news stories that we really do have here because we got a lot. So we're going to try to battle through it really quick and provide you guys as much updates as I can on it and then get into your Q&A as well. So first one at bad is going to be Cipher Mining. They announced operational update for November here. And let me see, do I have my spreadsheet open? I do. Okay, so let's get to Cipher here. Okay. Cipher Mining, like I said, announced their update here. BTC mined was 202. BTC sold was 234. BTC held was at 1,383 right now. Month and operating hash rate was 12 exahash. So that is a nice increase that they had here in November. And then the footnote here for number 1 includes November power sales estimates based on current meter data and nodal prices equivalent to 13 Bitcoin. So I subtracted that from their total here. And then 30 BTC mined at a JV data centers representing Cipher's ownership. So I took that out also to try to get more in line with what they actually will report for their revenue on the quarterly results. Okay. And they also have 258 BTC pledges collateral. Let me see. There isn't much here otherwise on it. So we'll just get into my spreadsheet here on them. They currently have about 347 million shares outstanding. The market performance here has been actually really good going back a ways. 12 weeks ago, they're up 116%. 8 weeks ago, they're up 59 with 60%. And then 4 weeks ago, they're down 6.4. Last week, they were down 1.8. They're HODL right now. They're at 10.7 exahash. That's not right. I should have that probably updated here. They said 12 exahash, didn't they? They did. See, I missed something. What did I miss? What did I miss here? 10.7 something's. Oh, that's not transferring over. Why is that not transferring over? Sorry, bear with me while I try to fix this as well. Let me see here. I think I just have to copy this and paste it over here, and then we should be at 12. All right, let's see. Nope. Yep, 12 exahash here on it. Okay, so self-mining, they're at 10.4. All right. But we have a 12 exahash here combined. Okay, that works out. 13.5 is the total there. A little bit of growth left in them as it is. BTC HODL now at 1,383. That's valued at about 132 million. And that's about 6.16% of their market cap right now of their HODL. And then each share has about 38 cents. They have been increasing their Bitcoin production here in the last couple of months. They were at 144 in October. November was 159. So that was a good revenue increase here quite nicely as well. 13.7 million for mining. BTC HODL has been coming down though. They've been using more of their HODL to fund their growth and buy sites and all that stuff. In the sense that's good. They're not diluting shareholders. So I'm happy about that. But I would definitely like to see them HODL more as time goes on here with Bitcoin. Total hash rate has been increasing like we talked about here, so that's good. Bitcoin sold here, they sold pretty close to what they sold last month as well, 247 compared to 252. September, they sold a lot there for it, and you can see the difference here as well. On it, BTC per exahash efficiency, 16.8, not bad, not great, somewhere in between there. Bitcoin sold value, how much they sold, it was about 21 million here recently. We'll get into these numbers here in a second here. Institutions did increase for them, 247. Shares also increased by institutions, 213 million, or almost 114 million. Percentage owned is now 33.3. And we still have 6 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, 1 hold rating. Price target stays the same for high at 11. Average went up a little bit to 8.14. And the low stayed the same at $6. We, excuse me, I did install some more machines here for the month of November. We installed these 234 Terrace miners here, about 5,515 roughly on those to get us to the numbers that we needed to get to. So that worked out pretty well. They were operating for about 23.81 days on average here, and the new ones were about 20 days on average as it is. Okay. Now going back up here, we can see that are they currently undervalued or overvalued? I think they're kind of fairly valued right now in both categories. So if we look at the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we're in, which is estimated, I'm between 423 and 634. They're at 619 right now. So that leads me to believe that they're fairly valued right now, right? If we look forward and use the numbers for November revenue times 12 months, I'm between 475 and 713. So that still puts them in kind of the fairly valued category as it is right now. Could they go up higher? Yes. Could they get HPCI contract or something like that? Yes. That would definitely spike the stock up even more. But I think the stock has already had a run up because of the HPCI potential there. Could it run up more? Sure. But it's just kind of what I'm seeing here right now, at least with them. It's nice that they're growing here. Definitely like seeing the growth. And then we'd definitely like to see more growth happening in early 2025. But I think a lot of their growth is going to be happening in the second half of 2025 and into 2026 as well. And beyond that even. Okay. So that's Cipher there. And let's get into our next story here. So Cleanspark, another update here. Cleanspark provides their update for November as well. Here's a quote from, I think this is from Zach. Our teams have been relentlessly executing, making progress towards our year-end hash rate goal of 37 exahash while improving our efficiency. Yes, that's CEO Zach Bradford. 2 turnkey Bitcoin mining sites near Clinton, Mississippi, I think this, MS, or Missouri. Is that Mississippi? Where was that? That is at Mississippi, yeah, MS. Okay, have been completed and are expected to be fully operational, providing an additional 1 exahash by the end of this week. So that will get them to, what are they at now? 30, let's see here. So it'll get them to about 34 exahash. We then expect expansion projects in Tennessee to go live mid-month. That paired with our ongoing upgrades will bring us over our year-end target of 37 exahash. We have our eyes on 2025, and our plan is to continue growing beyond 50 exahash in the coming quarters. Like I said, sorry, I am tired as it is. So Bitcoin mined here, 622. Total Bitcoin holdings was 9,297. They sold 26 Bitcoin, so that's actually probably the most they've sold here recently, like probably the last 10, 12 months, I think. Usually they've been selling like only 2 Bitcoin or something like that. Month-end operating hash rate was 33.7. And then some additional updates here. Clinton, Mississippi here, the 2 Bitcoin mining sites near Clinton were delivered to Cleanspark turnkey, ready and are energized as of December 2nd. Once completed installation this week, the sites will house S21 Pro miners with an expected combined operational hash rate of approximately 1 exahash. So they'll get them to 34. And then Cheyenne, Wyoming, the construction of 2 immersion-cooled Bitcoin mining data centers totaling 75 megawatts is underway. The connection of the high-voltage line for a substation is complete. For both sites, immersion cooling equipment is being delivered and will continue this month. Each site will house the latest generation S21 immersion XPs, adding an estimated 5 exahash. So that'll get them to like 39 exahash once everything is installed and energized here. So really good growth there continuing on here. Yeah, I mean, geez, what can you say? Cleanspark has been great. They've been fantastic. They've been, one of the ones that has been growing and expanding, kind of like they promised, which is fantastic to see here. And they actually reached beyond their targets this year. I think their target was originally like 31 exahash, 32 exahash, and they're getting to 37 exahash this year. So that's fantastic. They definitely outdid themselves here this year. Again, it seems like. Let's take a look at them right now as it is. So shares outstanding 292 million. I pulled that data in from their latest 10K report, which was published today. Their market cap right now is about 4 billion, and their performance over the last 12 weeks hasn't been bad. They're obviously the better going 12 weeks out, 53% up. 8 weeks out, they're up 49%, and then 4 weeks ago they're up 5.7, and then last week they were down 4.97. So they've done actually pretty good. Current hash rate 33, future hash rate is going to be about 50, right? They still got to remove some of the older machines here that they're going to be transferring out. Currently, their HODL at 9,297 is valued at 891 million. I mean, that's a sizable stockpile here, similar to what Riot has, along with Hut 8. We'll have to see what Hut 8 has at the end of the month here. Probably it's going to be probably larger than Hut 8, but it's still probably a third of what Mars is right now. But Mars has been getting convertible notes because of it. Currently, the HODL to market cap is 21%. One share has about $3.05 of HODL in it right now. The Bitcoin production here was down a little bit here, 622. The only reason I can think of was they did install a little bit more hash rate here this past month, depending on when it was energized, and we had a shorter month. So that goes for a lot of these guys here, I think. We'll see that also for Riot as well. Monthly revenue here came pretty close to their previous all-time high at 54.57. Their number for November was 53.85, so pretty close to that. Similar to what we saw with Marathon yesterday, right? They came really close to surpassing the previous all-time high for revenue in a month. Bitcoin HODL, like we see here, I mean, huge increases here that we've seen here recently. And then their hash rate growth has been also fantastic, 3x basically from a year ago in hash rate growth, from 10 exahash to 33 exahash right now. Bitcoin sold, like I said, they haven't been selling much here over the last 10 months or so. They sold a little bit more here this past month. And maybe this is a new trend that we're going to be seeing from them, where they start selling into the bull run of Bitcoin, which they kind of did that as well last cycle. Bitcoin per exahash efficiency, 18.5, pretty good there. Bitcoin sold 2.25 million. And then we'll get into these numbers here in a second. Their institutions and analyst ratings are down a little bit here. So institutions were down to 385, but shares actually increased to 118 million, and percentage increase as well to 46.76. We still have strong buy ratings, 1 buy rating, 1 hold rating, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price target is at $30, average is at 22, low is at 10.50, so kind of the same what it was the month prior. I did install some more machines for them. They got a lot of machines here. Going down here, we installed approximately 10,260 of these 234 exahash machines. Those were operating for roughly 20 days. The rest were operating about 29.16 days. They got us to the target of 53.8 million here, which is what I'm averaging for the Bitcoin price in November, plus what they mine Bitcoin-wise, and that's kind of what we got here as well. All right, now, are they undervalued, overvalued? They're undervalued currently. Based on the last 3 quarters, current quarter that we're in, right, having between 15.77 and 23.65. They're at 13.95. They are undervalued. If we use the numbers for November times 12 months, what could they actually get? Having between 22.09 and 33.13 at that point. That's kind of in line with what we're seeing with some of the analysts here, with $30 for the high. The low is definitely low, 10.50, but the average is about 22, which is kind of where I have them right now as it is. Okay, so I do believe that they are still way undervalued from where they really should be, and we can see that when we look at the enterprise value per exahash. You can definitely see that in there. What can I say about Cleanspark? Not much. They've been executing really, really well here. They're continuing to execute really well. We talked about it yesterday when they provided their fiscal year-end numbers. I would have liked to have seen more guidance for growth next year. We didn't get much of anything really. So maybe we'll get that later on once we get into actually like January and February. They might come out saying what their plans are going forward on that. All right, so that's Cleanspark here in a nutshell. Let's get into some convertible notes. So when it comes to convertible notes, I'm a noob. I don't have much experience with this. If you guys could point me to any kind of videos from somebody else on YouTube or posts or anything like that, I would greatly appreciate it, because especially when we get into Iren here, Iren is that just kind of blew my mind with everything that they're doing there. So if you guys could help me out, and maybe you guys can post that when we have the questions, Q&A side of things, show me some things, or if you guys are Patreon members, post something there for me to see. I would greatly appreciate it. I'd love to learn more about this. I just feel like I don't have enough experience in the convertible notes, especially the senior notes offerings and things like that. But CORZ did report that they upsized the 550 million convertible senior notes offering. The notes will be redeemable in whole or in part, subject to certain limitations for cash at CORZ Scientific's option at any time, and from time to time on or after June 22nd, 2028, and on or before the 20th scheduled trading day immediately before the maturity date, but only if the latest reported sale price per share of CORZ Scientific's common stock exceeds 130% of the conversion price for a specified period of time, and certainly other conditions as satisfied. The redemption price will be equal to the principal amount of the notes to be redeemed, plus accrued and unpaid special and additional interest, if any, but excluding the, legalese. I hate legalese. Why couldn't they make it simple? If the share price reaches that, we're going to do this. If the share price doesn't do that, we're going to do that. This is the part that's always kind of baffles my mind a little bit. Let's see. CORZ Scientific intends to use the net proceeds from the offering for general corporate purposes, including working capital, operating expenses, capital expenditures, acquisitions of complementary business, or repurchase of its securities. Okay, that's always interesting that they would repurchase their securities. I would rather see them grow than repurchase their securities, but sometimes there might be little caveats in these deals here that they have to repurchase them, because we're kind of seeing the same thing with Iren here in a second. But yeah, we're seeing a lot more of these, right? These convertible notes, senior notes that are either unsecured. Mostly of them are unsecured, really low interest rates, if any interest rates at all. I think the principal amount here for them is also 0% convertible senior notes due 2031. So it's an interesting dynamic that we have here this time around, where we didn't have that last time around in the cycle. Last bull cycle, we saw a lot of companies taking on debt at much higher interest rates. So it is completely different from that cycle that we saw last time to what it is now. And then also, are there any possible downsides to these? That's kind of one of the things that I want to find out is there a downside to these? Can those that are getting the convertible notes, can they hedge their bets also? By hedging, do they short the stock? Do they long the stock? How is that going to work out? That's one of the things I'm trying to understand here with all these things. So yeah, if you guys could provide any information on that, I would greatly appreciate it. I'd love to study up on it a little bit more. Okay, so I think this is good because we're seeing this all over the place where miners are doing this. So I think currently it's good until I, wrap my head around all of this stuff here, and then we'll discuss it later on also. And then we got Hive here. Hive announced its transformative acquisition of 8.6 exahash of Bitmain S21 Plus Hydro chips, projecting 15 exahash by summer of 2025, driving 300 million in revenue and 2% of global Bitcoin mining network hash rate, basically. The 2% from where it is right now, okay, yes, that would be the case. But if network hash rate continues to increase, like I think it might be, they might still be under the 2%, closer to like maybe 1.5% to 1.25%, something like that. Maybe at that point, depending how much the hash rate grows. And that would be in line with kind of what they want to be. They want to be within usually 1% of it. But I think this is great. This is great that they're doing this. But Hive is thrilled to announce a transformative step forward with the acquisition of 8.6 exahash of Bitmain S21 Hydros. This purchase will increase Hive's Bitcoin mining hash rate to 15 exahash of high margin self-mining capacity by summer of 2025. These state-of-the-art miners deliver an industry-leading efficiency of 15 joules per terahash and 319 terahash per unit, which will be powered by Hive's green energy infrastructure in Paraguay. All amounts in US dollars unless otherwise indicated. Okay, so that's going to be down in Paraguay. They're building out, if you guys recall. So Bitfarms is building out there, but they're also pushing it out a little bit as well. Order summary here. So Hive's initial order compromises 13,480 units, representing 4.3 exahash of hash rate capacity, scheduled for delivery in April and May 2025. This acquisition was secured at an exceptionally competitive price of $14. Yeah, that's actually really good. 14 terahash per, that's good here, especially with Bitcoin going up to almost 95, 97,000, whatever it is right now. That's actually really good. Additionally, the company has a call option to purchase an additional 13,480 units within 1 year, bringing the potential total order to 26,960 units, or 8.6 of CAP. So more likely they're getting to 4.3, and then if they can, they're going to get to 8.6. By Q1 2025, Hive will achieve a hash rate of 6.4, following the internal upgrades of its existing 30 joules per terahash fleet and installation of 11,500 Canon Avalon units. These upgrades will elevate the company's global mining efficiency to 19.5 joules per terahash. Upon full execution and installation of the Bitmain order, Hive will reach 15 exahash of global hash rate capacity with a blended fleet efficiency of 17 joules per terahash. That's actually really good. So congrats to those guys there. That's definitely going to help them out going in the long run. Let's see. There was nothing else here. Yeah. So this is good news. I like seeing this. As I've said before, Hive has some great operations. They have great cost structures, and they're really good stewards of their capital and everything else. So yeah, I'm happy with that they're doing this. I would have liked to have seen more growth from them, being more ambitious to being like one of the top 5 miners, but this is still really good. So the stock should do really well going forward as well. All right, next here. All right, this is the one that kind of blew my mind here a little bit as far as convertible notes go. Iren announces proposed convertible notes offering as well. Theirs is a little bit smaller. So subject to market and other conditions, 300 million aggregate principal amount of convertible senior notes due 2030. So that's still a ways away, about 5 years out. In a private offering to persons reasonably believed to be qualified institutional buyers pursuant to Rule 144A under the Securities Act of 1933. Iren also expects to grant the initial purchases of the note options to purchase for settlement within a period of 13 days from and including the date the notes are first issued, up to an additional 45 million principal amount of notes. Okay, so about 345 million roughly. At that point, let's see here. The notes will be redeemable in whole and part, subject to certain limitations, like for everybody else, for cash at Iren's option on or after December 20th, 2027, and on or before the 30th scheduled trading date, immediately before the maturity date, but only if the last reported sale price per share of Iren's ordinary shares exceeds 130%, wow, of the conversion price for a specific period of time and certain other conditions are satisfied. Okay, so are we looking at the price of where it's at today and being up 130% from here? Okay, the redemption price will be equal to the principal amount of the notes to be redeemed plus accrued and unpaid interest, if any, but excluding the redemption date. Okay, so that's kind of what we've seen here in the past with other miners as well. And then here, in connection with the offering of the notes, Iren expects to enter into a privately negotiated, this is the part that kind of blew my mind. It's like, okay, I don't even understand what this is. Negotiated capped call transactions with one or more of the initial purchasers of their affiliates and or one or more financial institutions, the option counterparties. The capped call transactions are expected to cover, subject to anti-dilution adjustments, the number of ordinary shares of Iren that will initially underlie the notes. If the initial purchasers exercise their option to purchase additional notes, then Iren expects to enter into additional capped call transactions with option counterpart. Okay, that's a lot of legalese there and mumbo jumbo a little bit for me. All right, what are capped call transactions? What are those? That's what I like to find out. If you guys know what that is, let me know in the comments when we go into the Q&A side of things, because right now I'm not paying attention to the comments. But if you could, I would greatly appreciate it, because I have no idea what this is. I don't know whether that's good or bad. And then down here, there was more. Okay, in connection with the offering of the notes, Iren also expects to enter into a privately negotiated prepaid forward share purchase transaction. The prepaid forward transaction with one of the initial purchases of the notes or its affiliates, the forward counterparty, pursuant to which Iren will purchase up to 100 million of its ordinary shares. Okay, so they're part of the deal is, I guess, they have to purchase a pricing date for settlement on the date that is shortly after the maturity date of the notes. So when the notes mature, they have to purchase back the shares, subject to an early settlement in whole or in part or of the prepaid forward transaction. The prepaid forward transaction will be solely cash settled until Iren receives shareholder approval to repurchase its ordinary shares pursuant to the terms of the prepaid forward transaction, or it's otherwise permitted to repurchase it. Wow. See what I mean? This is some mumblese here. Its ordinary shares pursuant to the terms of the prepaid forward transaction under the laws of jurisdiction of... Wow. All right, what does that actually mean? Layman's term, right? Give me the dummy version of all this. I think that would be a lot better for everybody. All this legalese and market and talk and all this stuff, it's like, how are you supposed to understand what's happening there? I wish they would break it down to here's the shares if this happens, it makes it probably a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely, there's a lot to read in here. I'm not going to go over all of it. But like I said, we are seeing a lot of these companies now going with these convertible notes. There's some caveats to these things as well for some of them. And it's hard. If it's hard for me to wrap my head around some of this stuff, I can't imagine what it is for just a regular investor in these things. How to wrap your heads around it. This is more definitely tailored for institutional buyers, accredited buyers as well, accredited investors and all that stuff. Because how do you make sense of this? Right? Let's see. Also over here it says, Iren expects to use a portion of the net proceeds from the offering to fund the costs entering into the capped call transactions and to fund the cost of entering into the prepaid for each subscriber. Okay, yeah. I mean, what does that all mean, actually? Yeah, it's over my head. I'll be honest with you guys. It is over my head. All right, next here. This is kind of interesting. This is kind of good, I think. Mara acquires a wind farm. I think this is actually really good. I would have liked to have seen what the actual cost of this is, just to see kind of what they could possibly get an ROI on this and what the time frame would be on this. But this is really cool, actually. So Mara today announced entering into a definitive agreement to acquire a wind farm in Hansford County, Texas, with 240 megawatts in interconnection capacity and 114 megawatts of nameplate wind capacity. This acquisition represents a major step forward in Mara's objectives to convert underutilized sustainable resources into economic value, achieve near zero energy costs, and enable broader renewable energy deployment. So, like I said, I think this is actually really good. Mara will develop and operate behind-the-meter data centers powered entirely by its 114 megawatt sites of wind capacity at zero marginal energy cost, as long as the wind turbines don't break, right? I guess that's what they mean by energy cost. By operating a data center at the site, Mara expects to take wind demand off the grid, alleviating grid congestion and enabling renewable energy development and building local power demand. Okay, that's all good there. Fred said, by repurposing machines, energizing them with 100% renewable, zero marginal energy cost, we're leveraging renewable resources that would have otherwise been curtailed, reducing our Bitcoin production costs through vertical integration and demonstrating Mara's commitment to environmental stewardship. Okay, one of the things that I know about the wind farms is they need maintenance, right? You need to change out the oils in those things, I believe. I've seen videos on that, how they actually change out. I'm afraid of heights. There was no way in heck I'd be climbing up there, changing out the light or something like that, or changing out the oil in those things. That would not be for me. But I know that it has to be done. I don't know exactly when it has to be done, what type of regular basis. Is it yearly? Is it quarterly? Is it biannual? Or every 6 months? Don't know that. So that's going to be a cost there. They're going to accrue on that. And then if there's any issues with the wind turbines themselves, right? We have seen these things get damaged during storms and things like that from high winds. So that might be a cost there. But otherwise, yeah, it's basically like free energy for the most part you can get. But like I said, I'd like to have known what they actually paid for this. Continuing on here, the site will utilize last generation ASIC mining hardware that would have otherwise been written off or sold into secondary market. So we were talking about like the maybe the 100 terahash, 140 terahash machines that are out there. Mara's approach, called the Advanced ASIC Retirement Initiative, creates a more sustainable and capital efficient alternative to discarding retired machines, providing an avenue for the hardware to continue operating profitably beyond their normal life cycle, utilizing wind power that would otherwise have been curtailed. Yeah, so this is good. I think this is actually really good. The program is expected to not only extend the life of the miners beyond their previous economic lives with zero marginal energy costs, but also enhance Mara's return on capital employed while reducing our operating costs and mitigating shareholder dilution. Yeah, so that I would agree there, but depending how much they pay for it. That's what I want to know. How much do they pay for it, right? Do they pay $100 million for this, or more or less? And then we could kind of maybe run the numbers as far as if they're using the prior generation or last generation miners, what they could possibly get on those with 144 megawatts. We could run the numbers on it and see what the ROI possibly could be on those for the machines and then for the site itself. All right, but this is great. I gotta admit, this is a really good thing. All right, so congrats to Mara on doing this. I think this is cool. All right, finally, last one here is Riot here. So right now, since their November production update as well, things have improved a little bit more for them, which is good. Bitcoin produced was 495. Bitcoin held increased to 11,425. Their deployed hash rate now is at 30.8, slight increase from what we saw here in October, which was 29.4. So we added another, 1.4 exahash roughly. And then average operational hash rate increased to 25.8 from 22.7. So that is roughly a 3.1 exahash improvement in operational hash rate. So that's good. Power credits stood in, they kind of swapped you a little bit. 1 million for power credits. Demand response credits was 0.4 million. And their all-in power cost was 3.8 cents. A little bit of a decrease, but a nice decrease nonetheless from 3.9 cents. And then fleet efficiency improved as well to 22.3 from 23. So a lot of good things happening for them. And then here's their site, which is a very beautiful site as it is. So they still have more stuff being built out here, looks like, on these parts of it. And then inside picture, we've talked about those as well, and their projected growth going forward. Talked about that as well. And nothing else here for them. All right, so let's get into Riot here really quick. So Riot here has 332 million shares outstanding, market cap about 4 billion. So they're kind of close to where Cleanspark is right now as it is. Performance has been pretty good here, 75% from 12 weeks ago, 50% from 8 weeks ago. They were down 1.2 from 4 weeks ago, and last week they were up 2.7. Current hash rate, 30.8 exahash. Future hash rate, 31.5. They're getting close to getting fully energized there. It seems like based on what I have here for them. And then Bitcoin HODL, 11,425. Is that correct? Do I have that right number? Seems, where is it at? Yeah, okay. I do have the right number. Just double checking. Valued at 1 billion here. That's a sizable cash position there, especially if Bitcoin doubles. Just from where it's at right now, you're looking at $2 billion just in Bitcoin value. That's great. HODL, the market cap, 27%. One share has about $3.30 of HODL. Their Bitcoin mined here for the month did come down here a little bit to 495 from 505, but that is, like I said, it was a shorter month. We had 30 days instead of 31 days in October. That's being attributable there, even though they grew their hash rate here. But also the network hash rate increased quite nicely as well. The revenues here have basically a new all-time high for them, 42.85 million for the last 12 months here. That's great to see. Bitcoin HODL as well has been continuing to increase their hash rate. So we talked about that already, 30.8. Nice continuation in the increase that they've been doing this year. So that is wonderful to see. Bitcoin sold, it looks like they actually bought two based on what I have and what they reported, but it's probably just a rounding error there on it. BTC per access efficiency also kind of 16.7. Not bad, not great, somewhere in between, right? Bitcoin sold value on that one. We'll look at this here in a second. Institutions here did increase a little bit here to 440. Shares also decreased a little bit. 142.05 million compared to 142.7. Percentage went down to 43.46. And then we still have this 9 strong buy ratings, 5 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price target stayed the same at $24 for the high. Average went up to 17 and the low went up to 950 now. So a slight increase across the board there. Miners here, what do we install here for the month of November? We installed these 280 exahash machines, about 5,000 of those, roughly 1.4 exahash. They were operating for 20 days, and then otherwise everything else was operating for about 25 days. So that is an improvement over the 22 days. So they are getting closer to that 95% goal that they have there in operations. But we still need to see more and more numbers here. More updates, I guess you could say. So that's looking good. So things are definitely improving for Riot, which is good to see. And then where do I have them here right now? Based on the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in, which is estimated, right, I'm between 943 and 1414. They look like they're kind of fairly valued, but if you look at the revenue for November and multiply it times 12 months, then things look a little bit different here. That I would have them between 1547 and 2321. They are, in that case, undervalued here, right? And it kind of coincides here with the analyst again with 24 price target. I'm at 23, pretty close on that one. So things are definitely improving for Riot, which is good to see because they have been struggling for like 2 years with their operations and everything else, and now they're finally starting to execute, which is good to see. Because I think all shareholders want that, is for them to be operating much closer to their operational uptime that they're targeting of 95%. And right now, it looks like they're getting there slowly, but they're getting there, which is good. All right, so that is it on Riot. All right, we went through all the news stories here. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things, see what you guys have to say on any of this stuff. And also if you guys have any, like I said, any YouTube videos or something like that I could watch on the convertible notes and some of the intricacies with that stuff as well, that I could learn more on it, I'd really appreciate it. If you guys could comment on that, or if you're Patreon members as well, definitely hit me up on Patreon or on Discord that we have there to let me know on it also. Okay. But as always, access to my spreadsheets is through Patreon. The link is down in the description. $8 a month for, I think it's still openings there, and then you might find a couple spots that are still for $5 open. All right, let's get into a Q&A. Let's see, not too bad. We did that pretty good here. 35 minutes here going through all the news. All right, give me a little time. I'm going to go through some of the questions that we do have here. I'm going to scroll back up, and if you could preface your questions with a question mark also, and something's not loading up here for me. Why isn't that loading up? Usually my ticker usually loads up as well, but that's not loading. Why? Oh, okay, it's not loading. We'll leave it as is. Maybe they're having a problem with the site. But yeah, preface the question with a question mark, and then give me a little bit of time. We'll try to get through all your questions here. All right. Let's see here. We'll just start here, somewhere around here. Sib, did you read about the S21, T21's Bitmain miners deliveries being held up at the borders by U.S. Customs for the last couple months? More negative news for Bitfarms. Yeah, I saw that. That was based on a chip that's in there that's from like China or something like that. It's, I think, yeah, I saw that. I don't know how much of the miners are for Bitfarms there that are held up. Bitfarms has not commented on that at all, so I just don't know how much is in there. All right. They said, why do you think Cleanspark won't do convertible notes? I don't think that they never say that they won't. They might do it if it makes sense for them, right? But yeah, I don't think they've ever stated that they won't do them. All right, what else we got? All right. Question. So it's being said for every 5 shares one buys of Riot equals 1 share of Bitfarms. So why would institutions buy Bitfarms? You're talking about because Riot owns 19.9% of the shares there. Is that why you're thinking of the conversion there for that maybe? That I don't know. All right, let's see here. Are we on the wrong miners? Cleanspark, Iren, Bitfarms comparing to Hut, Bitdeer, Cipher, Wolf, even Bit Digital. All past yearly high. Only Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and Iren can't. Can you put some light this looking ahead? Yeah, some of these miners also had. Okay, let's see. This thing is not. Oh, okay. I know why it's not working. All right. So, yeah, like I said, I did some rearranging in the basement. I know why that's not working because my little server is not up and running. But going back to the question here, why are the miners like Cleanspark, Iren, Bitfarms not performing as well? They had I could say for Cleanspark and Iren, they had a huge run up here, and they front run a lot of these guys earlier this year and late last year as well for Cleanspark. Iren earlier this year, right? They were up huge. If you look at where they were at the bottoms and where they are right now, they're still really, really good. But they peaked faster, I think, than the miners did before the halving cycle, and now they're getting beaten down. And then we had the you could say tailwinds or tailwinds, right? The ones that push you forward from HPCI for the miners like Hut 8, Bitdeer, Cipher, Wolf. That's kind of what's pushed those guys, because it's not because of their Bitcoin mining prowess. It's based on HPCI. So eventually, I think the miners that we're talking about here, Cleanspark, Iren, Bitcoin going up, they're going to be, their hash rate is huge. Think about where Wolf's hash rate is or Cipher's. These guys are like 3x of what they are, right? So they will eventually generate a heck of a lot more revenue than those guys will. See, did everyone give up on Bitfarms? Feels like it's going to run when everybody gives up on it. Yeah, it does seem like it, right? I sold a third of my position there in them yesterday, but Cleanspark and Iren because of it. Okay. Question. Mara has absolutely blown away your expectations with uptime, HODL, and still expanding. What does Mara have to do to get you on board? Consistency. I need to see consistency. That's basically it, right? They've had like last year as well. November, December were fantastic months for them. And then they kind of pooped the can a little bit afterwards, where they had problems for a number of months, and they're now kind of fixing those issues and getting to where they really should have been. So I need to see consistency. It's one of those things. All right. What other questions here? Okay, question. Let's see. Just as any MRI got love for no reason last quarter of 2023, Bitfarms has same hope. Well, Bitfarms has more growth than those guys do. So I would imagine them getting a little bit more love than those guys did, but we'll see. All right, question: who gets the 21st? Iren or Cleanspark? Oh, geez, good question there. They're pretty close. I think Cleanspark's still a little bit higher than they are right now, stock price wise. So it's gonna be a close race, I think. Okay. Do you think the first few months of 25 will be risk on or risk off, and why? I think they might be risk on. And the reason for that is depending on the news that we get for the strategic reserves on Bitcoin for the U.S. government. Where does that actually go within the first, I would say, probably like 2 months of Trump's candidacy? So I think that might be a risk on. So at that point, but we'll see. All right. Can you tell us more about Bitcoin mining costs and how Cleanspark compares to other major mining companies? They're one of the best ones there as it is. We will look at those costs. I want to try to get this done this week since we got Cleanspark numbers Monday. I got to run the numbers on all these guys here, update my break-even costs, which are estimates. So we'll look at those as well. Hopefully by like Thursday, we'll take a look at those. Okay. What would be the good reason Cleanspark is not doing convertibles? What angle do they see? Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm trying to figure out is there a bad part of this as well? And if so, what is that bad part of it? Right? What if Bitcoin doesn't go where we think it's going to go? What if it only goes to 250,000 and they don't go up the 50% that they're projecting, or 150 or 130%, whatever it might be for some of these guys? At what point, at that point, right, you don't reach your targets, would you then have to basically dilute shares to buy back the debt or the notes at that point, right? All right. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Thanks for your updates. Yeah, you're very welcome. What price does BTC need to reach for Riot to go above, 120? They need to first get their operations much closer to the 95% uptime that they're targeting. If they can do that, and then increase their hash rate also next year as well. I mean, we're probably looking at Bitcoin having to be over 250, 300,000 at that point, I think, depending how much also they dilute. All right. Yeah, Mark, yeah, I think you guys saw that as well. Let's see. Question: I thought the convertible notes means the conversion into shares. It could be either convertible into shares or dollars. They could pay it off as well. So there's the two options that I know of that they could do. Question: are Iren, Cleanspark, Mara still your top 3 for the bull run regarding performance potential from now until the all-time high bull run? Yeah, I think right now with Mara operating the way that they are, much better. I mean, they have over 100% uptime right now, so that's fantastic for them. But yeah, Iren, Cleanspark, and Mara, I think would be like the top 3 right now, especially with their growth here this year has been consistent, and they've been on target. So that's fantastic to see. All right. When are you going to put some respect on Mara? Put some respect. I've been respecting Mara for a long time. It's just I've been kind of beating on them for their operational prowess, I guess you could say, right? Their uptime and all that stuff. And I think that's fair. Other than that, I've been pretty good at Mara. That's one of the things that I look at is the uptime, all that stuff. That goes to anybody. It doesn't just go to Mara. It goes to Riot. I've been beating up on Riot for it. Others as well. All right. Iren or Cleanspark, if you had to pick one, for me, it's still, I think, Cleanspark because they have a large hodl there where Iren does not have it. Okay. Question, Sebastian, tell Ben to do convertible bonds. Also, why is Ben not responding to you? I don't know. He's busy, or he might be upset that I'm talking about them and selling their shares. I don't know. Okay. Top 5 most consistent miners in the past. It's been Cleanspark, Iren, Hive, Bitfarms, and what would be the other one there? There's another one probably there also. I'm trying to blank. It's not going to be Mara because Mara's had issues with uptime along with Riot. Who else was the other one there? The Cleanspark, Iren, Bitfarms, Hive. There was another one, I think. prior to being demoted down to the small miners. I think it was Bit Digital as well. Why is Bitfarms selling its Bitcoin? Are they accumulating cash to buy back shares so that Riot is outplayed? Yeah, I don't think they're buying. They're selling their shares to upgrade their machines from T21s to the S21s. That's why I think they're doing it. All right, let's see here. Iren put some stipulations in their conversions terms, but the legalese basically said they will have multiple parties using competitive derivatives on their stock. Retails calls it pump and dump. Okay, is that good or is that bad? How much roughly does the wind farm offer as exahash for Mara? Gauging growth mentally for them going into next year as Ohio projects are fully filled yet. Let me see if we can pull that up. So 140 was 114, right? Where's my spreadsheet here? File, open, recent, mining calculator. I think that's the one. Let's see if this is one. It's downloading. It's opening up. Bear with me here. This is the one. Okay. I think this is one. So here's that. Numbers here. And what do they report here? Mara is 114? 114 megawatts. Okay. So if we use 114 megawatts, that's going to be 0.114 gigawatts, 114 megawatts. If we're using 3,000 roughly kilowatts per miner here, 12 miners, we could have 38,000 terahash. Let's say that they're using the older generation of 140 terahash miners. We're looking at about 5.3 exahash roughly, somewhere around there, that they could put in there. If it's the 100 terahash miners, you're looking at somewhere 100 terahash. You're looking at about 3.8 roughly, right? If we're looking at just the kilowatts or the watts per miner, that's 3, right? We could probably go up, maybe let's go up 3.3 or something like that. 34, yeah, 3.45 for those. 140 would be 4.84 roughly, somewhere around there. All right. Okay. Did you get a reply from? No, didn't get a reply or nothing from that. All right. What else? Say free stream with every like. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. All right. What is your bearish and bullish target for Riot? For Riot, that will depend greatly on how their operations improve, closer to 95% uptime. If they can do that, then their targets are going to go up because they're going to be generating more revenue. So that's based on that, I think. But I think they should probably be like, gosh, I mean, Bitcoin gets to an all-time high. I'm guessing probably north of $50 a share at that point. Let's see. A question. Mara paid off some convertible debt early. They diluted shareholders to do it. Yes, they did. That was, you're talking about the 2026 notes that they had last year that they paid off. Yeah, they diluted because of that. They diluted to pay that off. All right, let's see here. What are your thoughts on Cleanspark's evergreen provision with the dilution and focus on 2025-27? Is this having not their year to moon? Have your price targets changed? Thanks. Price targets have not changed, only because their growth has been really good and it's continuing to increase. And then evergreen provisions, I'm not sure on those. First time I'm hearing about it, so I'll have to take a look at that, see if I can find that somewhere. The dilution and focus on 2025, 2027. The halving isn't, I mean, the halving also is not great for a lot of the miners here. So it's not just them. But I think once Bitcoin gets over 100,000, things will change for these miners. All right. Robbie, yeah, Mara has the name recognition. Yeah, they've been, yeah, I mean, you search for Bitcoin miners, one of the first one that pops up is Marathon or Mara. All right. Question, can you estimate what could be Hive's stock price? Can it be $20? They are focusing growth now and still more undervalued. Hive, let me see, pull that sheet up. Hive right now, I'm still waiting for their November numbers. This is based on their April numbers. Let's take a look at them here. So I have in between $4.67 and $7. They're at $4.07 today. And then if we use the revenue from October times 12, I have in between $3.88 and $3.82. we'll have to see what the November numbers are like. I'm guessing the revenue is going to be much better because revenue, Bitcoin was up quite nicely in November. So that will change there. But I do think that they are undervalued for where they are. Even if they go to 15 exahash next year, right? And where will the network hash rate be? Will the network hash rate be, 1,300 exahash or something like that? That's still going to be close to like being at maybe 1% of the network hash rate. So their growth is great, but it's just not enough to propel them into like one of the top 5 miners in the space, which is okay for them. They're going to do great, I think, regardless. Okay, let's see what else here. Trying to find some more questions. Let's see. Jordan said, Matt talked about the downside rules in his interview with Rex. The big one is that it limits the stock trade to trade in a range. Okay. That might be one downside of it. Here. Come on, somebody you only hold 25,000 shares of Bitfarms. You are not going to influence anyone with, I'm not, for sure. And then, everybody else here that watches and listens and things like that, how much of an influence do I actually have? Probably not much. All right. Any info on Bitfarms CEO lawsuit? Can't wait till they get past that muck in. I think they did already. They provided in their quarterly results here in Q3 that part of their increase in, I think it was SG&A. I think it was SG&A or it was one of those, that they compensation to ex-CEO. I think they mentioned it that way. Compensation to ex-CEO was in there. So I think they have something that's already been done with that. All right. Said, will Iren pass more on exahash in 2025? Well, Mars are going to be at 50 exahash already. We know that Iren is also targeting to get to 50 exahash as well, right? So we'll have to wait and see what Mara reports as far as their guidance for 2025. Fred has been a little coy about it recently. He was asked what their growth is going to be in one of, it was in, having brain fart. It was in one of those fireside chats or things like that. He said that, they're not going to report anything yet. They want to keep things close to their chest. So we'll see where they go. All right. What's your exit price for Bitfarms once they start moving, which I believe once the Stronghold deal is fully done and their Q1 numbers are out? It's not based on where they're going to be. It's going to be based on where Bitcoin's at that point. I'm going to start slowly possibly getting out of the miners once Bitcoin's closer to 150,000. At that point, I'll sell 5% here, 5% there, and that's going to be kind of the move going forward. Let's see. Question, is that a new on-air sign? No, it's been with me for, now probably, I think I got this for Christmas last year for my wife. So it's been with us for quite a while. Let's see. Question is, Iren is going to use convertible notes to grow their hash rate and not to buy Bitcoin. That we don't know. A portion of that is going to have to be used. It seems like it's going to be used for buying back their shares, it seems like. A portion of it, and then we'll see what they do with the rest of it. All right, let's see. Has Bitfarms' liabilities been stable or have they gone up or down, their liabilities? Let's take a look at it here. Bitfarms, if we look at it here on liabilities, they've been kind of stable. I mean, they've been going up a little bit here, 51 million from 46, but it's not a huge increase. So they've been actually pretty good here overall. The current ratio is still really good, 3.7, so they can pay off their current debt with current assets with 3.7 times, so that's good. Yeah, so I don't see a problem there. All right. What is your expectation of MSTR and MSTX? Oh, geez, I have no idea on that one. I don't really follow it close enough to really know I follow it, but not to the point where I'm going to know exactly what's going to happen in the next year. All right, question. Evergreen provision. Cleanspark CEO gets more shares when they ATM, more shares automatically for context. Okay. Yeah, through an ATM. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. If they get more shares because they do an ATM, well, then they're incentivized to do an ATM, right? Don't like that, to be honest. Okay. I missed your stream. Just thanks for your focus and state. Oh, you're very welcome, and thank you for coming in. Let's see. Ben keeps saying the bull market peak would be when the hash rate goes up 5 to 6x from the time of halving. Is that true from previous cycles? 5 to 6x? No. Now, last cycle, I mean, we can possibly look it up. Let me see here. Let's see. This is the hash rate. Yeah, okay. This is the hash rate. All right. So here's the hash rate. This is on 1 year. Let's go take a look at all. See, we had the run in 2017, right? 2017. And then we had a bear market. We hit the bottom here. This was probably after the halving event. This was 37. Then we had a bull run in 2021. 30. So that was what? 34. Just call it 35 exahash at that point. The bear, and then we had the bull run in 2021 where we peaked. Double top here. And we got to 145. That was at 35. That would have been close to a 4x. Okay, so that's a 4x from there. And then we had the bear market here recently, or yeah, we had the bear market, but hash rate is still continuing to go up there tremendously here. So if we look into like 3 years, wow, that's definitely squiggly lines there. 1 year, where's our bear market? Or where's our, we had that in April here. Probably would have been better on a 30-day average. There we go. That looks a little better. We had April, May. Okay, so we had that in April was the halving. We've come down here and we were down, I mean, from 577, doing another 4x roughly. We're looking at 2,000 exahash in the next, well, probably in the next 12 months or so. I just don't, yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think as the market grows, we're going to see lower increases on the network hash rate as well because it's just gotten so big. So I don't think so. Yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that. Let's go back here. Okay. Okay, so can you shred some light on your BTC price target on this bull run? You're saying 200, 200. Yeah, originally my price target was going to be around 180,000 based on where we were historically with Bitcoin and how much it's gone up. The multiple has been lower each cycle, but the value of dollar has been much higher each cycle, right? So I was expecting somewhere around 180,000 this cycle, but now with all the adoption that we have, Bitcoin possibly being used as a strategic reserve, everything else, I'm thinking we might be higher than that, 200, 250,000, if not even, maybe even more than that. But I want to be a little bit more conservative, and I don't know if 200, 250,000 is even conservative. I mean, that definitely seems a lot. All right. Do you think MicroStrategy is going to continue to outshine BTC miners? At times, yes. At times, no. I think the miners will shine when their revenues are just outrageous and the profit margins are, very, very nice, very fat, I guess you could say. At that point, I think the miners will outshine MicroStrategy, but that's going to be for a window. It's going to be, somewhere between 9 and 12 months of time where they're going to possibly do that. All right. Can't see, do we have any other questions? I think I've come up to all your guys' questions here. All right, question here. Where do you see Iren price at BTC 250,000? Oh my gosh, at that point, we're looking at probably over $100, I would think. Because with them getting to 50 exahash also, I mean, that's just, we can do the math on it, where they're going to be, depending where the network hash rate is also, but you can run the math on it and see where their numbers are going to be. It's going to be huge. Let's see, do you enjoy crunching the numbers? Yeah, I do. And that's the great thing with the miners is they provide all this data for us every month where we can see how they're growing and where they're going. And you can kind of model it a little bit to a certain degree, right? We don't know exactly where the network hash rate is going to go. We don't know where the price of Bitcoin is going to go, but we can kind of guesstimate on those, and we can see kind of where they might actually go. And I love that. Hopefully you guys enjoy that too as well. All right, but that's it. We've been going on here for an hour. We're going to call it a day, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow, like I said, we're going to cover also, what are we going to cover? Tomorrow we're going to cover, not that one, this one. We're going to cover TeraWolf, anything else that happens. And then I'll see if we can find some information on these convertible notes, how it all actually works out. What are the downsides? What are the upsides for it all? Might cover that tomorrow if I get enough information on it. If not, we'll cover that later on this week, or maybe like on a Sunday stream or something like that. But I definitely want to find out more information on that. But yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for coming in, spending the time with me here. Really appreciate you guys. Love you all. Have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow.